And here we are again, Bridge City Radio 100.7 FM. I'm your host, Victor Bustillos.
What's going on? I'm Frank Contreras. Welcome back. Welcome back.
All right. And in the studio, we've been blessed again today to have one of our previous guests on, Mr. Anthony Santana out of the Flood Ranch. How you doing, Anthony?
Doing good.
Good, man. Hey, it's a blessing to have you back, bro. Really, yes. Man. You came out and you did a show for us not long ago, and I loved all the jams you played, and I've always loved the music you play, man.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you back. Bridge City Radio in the house.
That's right. Right.
We're broadcasting live to San Pedro, Carson, Wilmington, Harbor City, Long Beach, and even beyond.
Yeah, South Bay Harbor area.
So we're going to let them know.
That's right. So this is Record Talk, and what we want to do is just kind of give you a little insight on who Anthony Santana is and what the Santana Soul Radio Show is. And, without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Definitely.
So first things first, Anthony, let's start from the jump, man. Where were you born, bro?
Well, I was born in Downey, but raised in the city of Santa Fe Springs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Santa Fe Springs. You currently in that area now?
Yes, I am.
All right. So born and raised.
That's right there,
baby. That's it. And so what kind of music was played in your household when you were growing up?
Oh man, DooWop, brother.
A lot of DooWop,
man. The Paragons, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Earl Lewis and the Channels.
Yeah.
Man, all that was like rare back then, you know?
Okay. And this was your mom and your dad that
this was
to?
My dad really laid the floor mat to that.
Nice.
Yes.
So you grew up with soul music basically, because DooWop is basically where soul started, right?
No, exactly, man. It started by a group, I think, out there in Chicago. I want to say Solomon Brothers or something like that. And I'm not talking about Solomon Brothers with the Battleship. Okay. There was a group of brothers, I think 3 of them started back then, and I think in the 42 or something like that. Really, it didn't really kind of like really take off, but that was kind of the floor mat.
Okay.
I mean, right. Yeah. That's where DooWop kind of really started like elevating it as life went on.
Now, would you say DooWop is the music that you enjoyed as a kid, or were you still kind of like, did you have your own style of music that you liked as a child?
Well, you know what? DooWop was lay the floor mat for my life during the time my dad had a big old record collection.
Nice.
I mean the old stereo system high fives back then. Yeah. And they looked like coffins back then, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so you know what I'm talking about. And back then, you know, I used to see him as a little boy, like cleaning his records. Looked like he was polishing up, like today's guys polish up their cars. Well, he polished up his 45s, you know, get them ready for the party, you know, and had those old books and all that good history right there, bro.
Nice.
All that good here.
How old were you when you got your first 45 or your first LP, your first record?
Shoot, I think my first record, I think I was about let's say maybe like 11.
Wow. Is that something that you got as a birthday or a Christmas gift, or did you actually go out and purchase it?
I think I actually went out and I purchased it. Wow. That's when during the time hip hop was coming in towards the West Coast.
Yeah.
So we know the hip hop was started in New York, where pretty much 1977, you know?
Yeah.
And it started reaching across and it came over, and then everybody started DJing and and you're a kid in junior high, like, you know, you see one of your good homeboys, you know, now, you know, he's a good homeboy, but back then you see him out there DJing at a junior high school dance, you know, and like, hey, that's what I want to do.
Oh, yeah. Nice. So at an early age, you wanted to DJ.
Oh, yeah, bro. Oh,
so we all share a similar story. So being that, you know, DooWop obviously was my house, your house too. What was some of the first songs that you liked by yourself as Anthony? What were some of the first records you bought that you enjoyed?
Oh shoot, man! What I enjoyed, like the Sugar Hill Gang, bro.
Oh yeah. You
know, the Sugar Hill Gang, and then it escalated from there, and And today, you know, Sky, man, I love
Oh,
Sky,
yeah,
bro.
yes.
Wow.
Oh, I love Sky, man. Sky, again, man, king of punk funk, man, Rick James, bro.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean?
The super freak.
The super freak.
You
Yeah.
remember that song Double Dutch Bust?
The double Dutch buzz. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great tune, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great
Yeah,
tune.
those good times right there.
Good, good. So, when you actually had a DJ system, what age were you at?
Well, shoot, I think I was 13 years old.
Wow.
My dad knew that I was into it, and he bought me 2 turntables and a mixer. But it was not the turntables that back then where I know 1200s were coming across,
Yeah.
and they already had them and all that.
Right.
But had like 2 Yamaha belt drive, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, you don't, you're young, yeah, you're all excited,
Yeah,
you know, you don't know what's going on, you know,
That's right.
and you're making it work, and it did work.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
That's right.
See, we have a similar story because
That's so funny. we were both 13.
My
when
dad
we-
was buying. He tried to get me on the drums. He tried to buy me a piano, but for some
Yeah.
reason, he had a nice turntable. Have you ever seen that movie? What's that movie with that real nice? My dad had a real expensive turntable anyway, and I messed his up. So he's
Oh,
like,
no.
so you really want these records? I'm gonna buy you. So he bought me cheap ones, Moran's turntable.
Nice.
But they were the ones you had to put plastic on them. You scratch the record, goes
Bell driven.
because
Bell driven.
the 1200s were so darn expensive, man.
Oh, yeah,
they were like
bro.
$299, $349 back then, man. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I could relate. So we're probably around the same age,
Yeah, man.
growing up in the era of early hip hop, and that's what I really got into was early, Donna Summer, disco
Oh,
music,
yeah,
and then eventually rap music when it came out.
yeah,
Big time influences in my life also.
yeah. No, definitely, man. I remember the first concert right here, the Long Beach Sports Arena with Run
man.
DMC.
Run DMC.
Wow.
The Fat Boy before the Fat Boy called Disco 6, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Disco
Disco
3.
3, Disco 3.
I mean,
yeah.
Disco
So,
3.
so you went to that?
Yeah, I was there with the first concert,
Oh,
bro.
man. Was that the Fresh Fest?
It was a Fresh Fest, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was there, and
I couldn't go to that. I was still too little, man.
and you're lucky you didn't go because too much stuff happened.
Yeah, you might not have been here today.
Man, yeah, bro.
Man.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember those days right there, man.
I wish I would have known about it back then. I was still young. I was into hip hop,
Yeah.
early hip hop at
Yeah.
the age of 13, and that's why I wanted to DJ myself.
Right.
I remember seeing Beat Street and
Oh yeah.
and
Breakin',
Breakin',
Crush
and all
Groove.
those movies, Crush Groove especially.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, man, I want to do the scratch thing. I wanted to be a graffiti artist, a
Yeah.
break dancer, and
Yeah.
I've always been chubby all my life. So I
Right.
was a little fat kid. I couldn't get on the floor and do like windmills, but
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
pop lock my heart
Right.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I try to do the graffiti, and then
Right.
of course, we weren't very fortunate to have money,
Right.
so we had to work for everything and sell things sometimes
definitely.
to get things. But I told Frank this story, but my parents were in a car accident,
Mm.
and my brother was with them. It was my mom and my dad, and I wasn't with them. They got a settlement,
Right.
and each one of them put together $500. So I had $1,500 to get whatever I wanted, and that's how I got my turntables at 13.
Wow.
So it's funny,
nice.
you got yours at 13.
Yeah.
You got yours at 13.
Yep.
Right.
We
At
were
13,
both, all of us influenced
Oh,
at,
man.
yeah, right? All
Yeah.
influenced with hip hop
Yep.
and raised with soul in the house. So very, very wonderful.
Everybody wanted to be a DJ.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's true. What you said, and everybody was in crews and all
Right,
that stuff.
right.
It was
Exactly.
popping back then.
It was probably, man, backyard boogies were popping
Oh,
back
man.
there. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Shoot. But going back to the movies and all that, like I said, I'm always real, man. I know practically most of those dudes in those movies because I didn't hang out with them,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I went to school with some of those cats,
Man.
bro, and they know me. I know them and all that.
Wow.
But even that guy Boogaloo Shrimp, he married
Yeah.
a Mexican girl.
Yeah.
He's come to our neighborhood all the time
Wow.
because that's where it was a spot back then. Because
Yep.
our city built a new gym and
Wow.
everybody go over their floor mat and
Wow.
windmills all day, pop
Wow.
locking,
Boombox and everything.
boombox, everything.
Wow.
The whole 9 yards.
Such a great time to live, man.
Oh,
I'm so
yeah.
grateful that I got
Oh, the 80s were
able to live
bad,
in.
bro.
Oh,
The 80s
man.
were bad. It was
Everything.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. So who was some of your inspirations back then?
What do you mean?
Is-
Enlighten me. Like,
As far as artists, like who were some of your favorite artists back then?
well, shoot, man. I mean, for music artists, once again, let's go back to on the Sugar Hill Gang. man.
So
Yeah,
Sugar
I
Hill
mean,
Gang was
Yeah.
one of your
Oh
inspirations.
yeah,
then.
bro. And I think there was a thing that song It's Nasty or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
yeah, bro.
I just seen that record today at the shop.
That's
Oh, no
funny.
way, bro.
Right up
Yeah.
Frank's alley, man.
Yeah,
Frank's
man.
an old school hip hop nerd, man.
Yeah, you know, like I said, in Sky and all that, man. Yeah, those were my favorite artists.
And today, fast forward to now, what is this? 30 years later,
Yeah,
or even more. What are some of your influences today as far as music goes? Artists.
shoot, man. I mean, we're talking about rare music and all that, but I mean, this today as for me right now. I mean, for DooWop, I love the Paragons, bro.
Wow. Okay.
You know, it reminds me of my dad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Florence. Not only that, there's other songs they sing that they never people never played, or Earl Lewis and the Channels, and you know what I mean, all that, bro.
Wow.
So I mean, those are really inspiration in my heart. You know what I mean, and all that. But and then for rare, you know, like again, Kitty and the Cats. You know what I mean,
beautiful.
Stuff like that. And for that kind of music, people, and I know people are gonna hear this and that, but what I'm saying is that I call that kind of crossover. Some would say no, because I saw not until late early 70s. Some say late 60s. But if you look at the music and they're coming out of DooWop, you got the harmony. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The harmony, the DooWop background. Then you got the soul really coming from their heart.
Right.
Wow.
So to me, that's a crossover. You know what I mean? Where Donald Jenkins, you know what I mean?
Oh man,
It's
love Donald Jenkins.
a beautiful place. Anyways, stuff like that. So that's what to me is like I'm a crossover guy, bro.
Yeah, good.
You know what I mean? I love that coming out of DooWop. So I still love the DooWop, bro.
Oh, yeah.
But I love the soul. You know what I mean?
And then
Yes.
For those that don't know what crossover is, I mean, I know there's many definitions from different collectors, but
Right.
in your personal opinion, what would you consider crossover to be?
Coming out of DooWop into soul.
Into soul. Okay, so the crossover transition.
Transition.
You catch it right in the middle, basically,
Yeah,
at the pivoting point from DooWop to
exactly.
So it still carries a little bit of flavor from both sides.
Exactly. 'Cause I like the harmonies, man, in the
Yes.
background. But and then when they're coming to soul, man, singing for your heart, it's got a lot of horns and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Now, DooWop, back then, so when I think of DooWop, when I hear DooWop, I imagine, no music in the background, the guy standing on the street corner, three of them, and then they're snapping their fingers, and a couple of them are doing the background harmonies, and one thing, I mean, would that be considered a DooWop to you?
Definitely, definitely, yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? Mostly, I think, consider it more of a harmony, but, a DooWop, but it's harmony because there's no instrument behind it.
So you got multiple singers singing at different octaves.
Well, because you got a bass guy singing the highs. I mean the bass, lows, and all that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's pretty trippy, man.
Yeah, it's great stuff, actually. I know that you've had some artists on your show, Santana Soul Radio.
Yeah.
I should say DJs or collectors. To me, they're collectors, man.
Right,
to me, I know a lot of people get specific with it, but me, I've been a collector of records since I was 13 years old, basically. Now, I consider collecting, if I buy and I continuously buy and I don't sell and I keep them and they're still they're just adding up in my room, I'm a collector. I buy them and I don't sell them, I keep them. So but a lot of people get pretty
they want to get technical
with it. And I get that, because truly the collector means buying the best of the best, pristine condition, and keeping it that way, preserving it, which is also something that I do as a collector, and I'm sure you do too. When we spend a lot of money on our records, man. Records aren't as cheap as people may think.
Exactly.
And especially the type of music that you play and that a lot of us play, they're just not pressed in large quantities.
Right.
So when you find it, if you find it, it's not going to be cheap. So my question was, you had a lot of these, few of these artists on that do DooWop. For example, you got From the Old Side. Big shout out to Payaso.
Exactly.
Love that guy. He's got amazing DooWop. And you've also had Strictly DooWop, which is Armando Ambriz.
Exactly.
Another beautiful collector, man. Tell us a little bit about your show, because you don't just have DooWop DJs. I mean, I've heard Sweet Soul coming out of there, crossover. I've heard many different types of soul. Tell us a little bit. Elaborate on this on the show.
Well, what I like to do on the show is like give everybody the opportunity. If your name is known or not known, or if you just came off the street, you have a bag of records, and you want to play, and that's the thing. Because if you look back then, there's only one place people used to play records. Not everybody get to play. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's only certain people got to play, and people went to their events, but they're on the outside looking in, like Little Anthony on the outside looking in, and there's a point, you know, everybody has there's a reason for everything. So when I started the show, it was just for me. I was playing music just to my family out there in Apple Valley or Victorville, far distance.
Right.
You know, kept the music alive with my family, and then time went on, and got a hold of the internet, this and that, blah blah blah. And what happened? And then I started the show, but let's reverse that, because back in the days, you know, I go, you know what? I want to play music so bad because they don't play it on the radio.
Right.
So I thought, okay, get a CB radio.
That's heavy.
You know, plug it in.
That's real.
And then you get the mic and put it to the speaker and play.
Yes.
And that was my ideal, bro.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's brilliant.
Excuse me. That was my ideal, is to do that. And during that time, this is like maybe in the late 90s, where I wanted to do that. I was living in Riverside, and I heard 88.3 Radio Aslan started jamming the oldies, but they were playing mostly Chicano soul or Latin soul.
Right.
Okay.
For whatever it is, why didn't understand that, but I had a lot of soul music.
Yeah.
So I went to the station, and then I met Trip and everybody out there, and brought my collection, but they only played the Chicano soul. So in my mind, that I wanted to play everything. So, you know, we didn't want to put horse blinds.
Yes.
You want to be open-minded to everything.
That's good.
Like you said, you know, you're a collector, not just a soul collector, but you're a collector of all things. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all that. And so for me, I wanted to do this so bad. So a guy turned me on to, when we're talking about Ustream.
Yeah, Ustream. Yeah, the
the app. Well, that was one of your first radio set was Ustream, and I was on Ustream.
Right.
And I had a guy from church rigged it up, and he called me up and he goes, "Look at your computer," and that's how it started, really.
Wow.
And the real name was never supposed to be Santana Soul Radio or Santana Show.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I was messing around. It was it used to be called Sock 'em Up Oldies, bro.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that name too, man. You might have to have a secondary sub show called that, man, just to bring it back.
Man, you know, because, you know, remember looking back in the days, you know, and I'm not trying to put bad heat, but this is real talk right here. Back in the days, is that I remember when they used to go to parties and people would be dancing, and somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
Somebody's wedding. When there's an oldie come on, somebody's wedding. Right. Something happens at somebody's wedding. That's how far I'm gonna go. Yeah. And so I used to be laughing and go, "Sock them up," you know.
Okay, I got you.
Very true, man. Very
Hit
true.
Hit them with the heavy
stuff. Yeah, man.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I make a joke all the time that I don't really get to play out often because I like them teardrop, heartbreaking, passionate, you know, just mournful tunes, you know, the ones that grab you by the heart. Right. And unfortunately, that's not what everybody wants to listen to. You know what I mean? People want to dance when you're at a bar, at a club. People want to dance. They want to have a good time and be uplifted. Right. So, but that's I remember having an experience where I played some tunes, and then all of a sudden the party just spiraled out of control after that.
Oh man!
So I don't get asked to play very often, man. But when you were on our show last, you played a wide variety of some good stuff, man. I mean, from that Kitty and the Cats, the Donald Jenkins. I mean, you played the Fascinations. You played some really good tunes. Right. You know, and for those of you who didn't get a chance to listen, I'll put you should go back and listen to those because we do archive our shows. However, man, Anthony, man, I see you have a couple records here laced up, man. Why don't you tell me something about those?
Well, you know, right here, I got Hector Rivera and the Reynosos right here, you know what I mean? And when I got attracted to it, when I moved back from Riverside back to my hometown in Santa Fe Spring, I was tuned into Radio Bilingua, you know what I mean? And so Radio Bilingua is Mark Anthony, when he used to play a lot of Billy Stewart, a lot of Barbara Mason. So he's out of Fresno. And I kind of owed it, you know. I mean, he's passed away, you know, rest in peace and all that. And but he's kind of like like an icon for me because the guy was playing all the right music.
Wow.
Right,
You know what I mean? He was not, you know, there's other radio stations who play this and that, or you had so and so out there, whatever. But this guy, he knew what he was doing. So he'll play some Barbara Mason, some Billy Stewart. And then when he played right here, Hector Rivera and the Reynosos, it caught my eye. I said, oh my God,
Wow.
what in the heck is this? Who's that? You know what I mean? And I started all over the place, like, who's this? And then little George Loco came into my life, and he came and I told him about the record. He looked it up. My first record right here for soul record.
Wow.
For rare soul or for soul period?
For really land soul, any kind of soul, anything.
Yeah.
It was my first record I bought, really.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And at that time it cost me like $45.
Oh wow.
And that's my first record I really bought when I started doing the soul scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's a lot of money to spend on a record. Then, you know, if you think about it, I mean,
Yeah.
I it's not till the last couple years or few years where I started breaking past the $50 record. You know what I mean? I mean, my budget was always $10. If I found a 7-inch record for $10, I was like, man, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to buying them for $3, $5, but you know, it's a different world today. And like you said, man, that's the Hector Rivera.
Yeah.
On the 4 Points label, it looks like. And
definitely.
That record's not cheap today.
No, see, I don't even keep talking about that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that. But you know, to me, it's like, man. So that kind of reminds me of Mark Anthony, Radio Bilingua. You know, if you want to talk radio station, you know, I was not the first really started a radio station, but I think I broke a lot of barriers towards that radio station.
Right.
Because if you really want to look at the first radio station, really want to get deep into it, it was not 88.3 Radio Solano. It was the Sancho show out there in Pasadena.
I remember that.
And that was my brother's homeboy, Frank Alvarez, and all them, bro.
No school, no class.
There you go, bro. And he always just talking between the music.
Right.
He didn't want you to record his stuff, bro. 'Cause back then, nobody really had it, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if they did, they, you know, it's the older parents, and they have them in their closet.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's where it all really started right there, man.
Well, why don't you drop the needle on that? Let's let some people listen to this. This is once again Hector Rivera and the Latin Renaissance. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it's the 4 Points label. This is Anthony Santana's first soul record.
I tried and I tried to treat you right, but all you did was leave me home day and night.
I want you, I need you, I love you.
It's such an amazing song there, and I just had a question for you, Anthony. That record looks really clean, and because a lot of our listeners obviously they don't know too much about the wellness and care of vinyl.
Yes.
So how does Anthony keep a record that's so rare, so expensive? A lot of these things you're playing on our previous show, I think, are $400 or $500, $600, $700 records.
Oh yeah.
So how is someone like Anthony cleaning his records? How do you take care of them?
I just because those are. I mean, that's a hard question, but reality. Like you said, just spray a little water on it on a nice cotton towel, man, and then just wipe it real smooth, and that does a trick. There's people does it all kinds of ways.
I see that.
But I use that
wood glue. You see people using wood glue,
and that's true too.
And I'm so like, because I got records too. I don't even want to touch them. I blow on them, and like, don't touch it. Man, so I understand the value of them.
Right. Yeah.
And they have this what's that thing called where you take the electricity away?
It's a zero stat.
Zero stat. You ever seen those?
No, never heard of that.
Electricity off. Sometimes you put a record down on the turntable and it sticks to the actual slip mat on the plastic. That's because
it creates static electricity, which causes the lint to actually stick to the vinyl and the grooves. So they have a cohete, a little gun. It's called a zero stat gun, and it makes a little noise like rich it. And once you point it at the record and you shoot it, and like literally you just see the dust fall off the record.
Wow, man!
But they're like $80, so it's a well investment for especially someone like yourself who spends a lot of money on records. But you're right, there is so many different ways to do it, and so everybody does everything a different way. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly, bro.
I'm one of those guys who I don't ever like to look down on anybody unless I'm helping them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro.
So, and that's what we try to promote here on Bridge City Radio. It's all about love. We're all about bridging the cities together.
Yes.
There you go.
And we're based out of San Pedro Harbor area. That's where our station is located. And as you know, we got the Vincent Thomas Bridge. We got a new bridge being built. We got bridges jumping us over to Long Beach. So, and that's how Bridge City came about.
Wow, nice.
But we want to reach out to everyone, man. We know that Los Angeles has a big soul scene.
Heck yeah.
Big hip hop scene, reggae scene. I mean, there's so much good music in this area.
Definitely.
And we're just blessed to have this opportunity. So big shout out to Ziggy, the owner of the station, for putting us up on this. And
nice.
Also big shout out to Luis Correa. If you don't know who he is, King Steady Beat, give him a follow.
All right.
But back to Anthony, man. So glad to have you in the studio. And I know Anthony is the founder and the creator of Santana Soul Radio. So for those of you who don't know what that is, check him out on Instagram and on Mixler.
Yes.
And Anthony, I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite thing about hosting Santana Soul Radio?
Well, my favorite thing is that making people happy on the other side of the line when we're playing records and bringing memories to elderly people, bringing back, their childhood when they're young and talking about, they're probably talking to their husband or whatever, or their kids. I remember when I met your dad, or I remember when I met your mom, I remember when I met your tío, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it brings them back that time, and it's a blessing to see that. And it's so crazy to talk about that. I was asked to play for some Christmas parties for my cousins, and they're in their 70s, and so I go out there, Diamond Bar, and set up, and and they had a live band and all that, but they couldn't wait for me to play because I was playing a lot of DooWop, a lot of this, and to see this old couple, bro, this old couple hugging each other, singing that song "My Desiree," that playing that, and they're dancing away, and right there and then, man, your life can change to see somebody an elderly dancing away, bringing them memories. And when they're dancing, they're probably thinking of each other when they're 16 years old.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's what makes me Santana Soul Radio is about, is to make people happy.
Wow.
And as those come in, make them happy as they play the records the way they want to play them.
Man,
Yeah.
I wanted to cry right now, man. I could picture that, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. That's
Yeah.
one thing I really love about music is
Yes.
it captures a moment in time.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've said this before, and I could say it 100 times over and over. There's been times where I can be 100% happy at in my life or with everything that I'm doing. It could be a Friday. I just got out of work, got a 3-day weekend, and I'm happy. You know what I mean? But then I hear that one song, and it don't matter, bro. I may not be sad inside, but that song just touches me to my heart, where a tear will fall down my face, and I'm not sad. I'm happy. I'm singing the song with pride and passion, and the windows are down, and I'm blasting it. You know, it's like with tears, and people looking at me at the stop, like, damn, this guy just broke up or something. You know, like, but no, that's just what the music does. You know, and to envision an elderly couple that are in their 70s that you play a song for, and to just think what's going on in their head, what are they feeling, rekindling that love or that memory, man. That's a beautiful thing. Really is.
You know, it's like it, you know, because you know the show's about records or collectors. You know, I think collectors, everybody, that's all good. I think they got it all wrong. What I'm saying is that music like this brings a lot of feeling, man. It's like, I mean, it goes so deep where, man, you just gotta, I mean, it's like we go to bed breathing it, smelling it, the whole 9 yards, you know what I mean? And you're right. Going down that road and you're hearing that certain rola, man, and you hearing it. And hey, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll be sometimes choked up inside because it brings me memory where there's a part of time of your life.
Right.
That person's not there no more.
Exactly.
But still, you know what? You still got them in your heart and all that. You know what I mean?
It brings back those memories. It's like going into a time machine.
Yes.
There's songs that I hear, and it just takes me right back. I can smell the air, how it smelled back then. The same feelings. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing for me.
No, exactly.
It's a good thing. And that's what I really appreciate about a lot of the music that I missed growing up.
Right.
So let me ask you a question now that you brought a good point up. So somebody that doesn't know this type of, you know, you talked about crossover with DooWop or Sweet Soul.
Yeah.
What would be some of the groups or songs that you could like send a shout out to our listeners to look out for or to start with? If you were to put together a starter's kit.
Well, you know, it's crazy, man. Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because
good question.
It's because people don't today. Okay, you got today. Now it's a hipster world. Means
that's what I mean.
See, the hipster world is like they're buying the stuff that we're collecting now because everybody wants to go to the race. You know what I mean? They want to have everything everybody else has. Well, my older son, he just started buying records, but it's nothing new to him because when he was a baby,
right,
he used to hear all the jams and all that. Yeah. You know, but now he's finally, you know, he wants to buy his records and all that. I said, look, son, let's go back. Let's go back to the whatnots.
Ooh,
let's go back to the moments.
Yes.
Right.
You know, where it all started at, kind of in the sweet soul. Right. You know what I mean? Let's go back to the 5 stair steps. Let's go back to the Mad Lads. You know what I mean? And all that. And yeah, again, which is like really for the LA, represent LA a lot. It was the Midnighters.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So, but I'd say go back to that, and then you'll know. It'll start teaching you.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Start from here, and it'll start teaching you. Then you start gradually like, hey, you know what? This song will go with this song. That song goes. So it's a pattern, and then it starts leaking. Before you know it, you're here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It takes a lot of research, man. It really does. Especially with, I mean, it's with any genre, though. I mean, there's music that we hear on the radio, which I'm grateful for because that's how I learned. You got to start somewhere. I call that my gateway, you know. But like you say, you gotta. If you start there, eventually you'll start learning about deeper and deeper artists and deeper songs. You'll find music. Today, we're very fortunate. I know there's big collectors that have been doing this a long time, such as yourself, that didn't have the YouTube or the Google like we do today in our time. You know, I only know so much of this because of YouTube and Google, because I was fortunate enough to listen to some of the compilations that were put out. You know, you got George Miller, you got 626 Soul, you got Tober's Oldies, Linwood Soul. You know, you got so many of these compilations that we were allowed to listen to, fortunate enough to listen to. But then that allows us to branch off into YouTube and into Google. But man, you guys did it the hard way.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean a lot of them people done digging, and today you can't dig in L.A. because really you ain't gonna find nothing out here no more
Yeah,
because
yeah.
all the digging's been done. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
But again, once again, like you said, man, I want to give a shout out to the founders. Like Sal Rodriguez,
yes.
Lasso Oldies,
Yes.
to Richard from To Every Story, Tokers Only. You know what I mean? These were the floor mat. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what with those CDs, those guys put out their compilations. That's how people getting the records. If you notice, and they're the one set the floor mat as they set that floor mat. To everybody today buying records and all that.
Very
So
true.
I really want to give the credit to them. Not only that, George Miller, Gangster Harmony. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all that. He's been in the game when he was really young. His dad had a nice collection and all that. So it's those guys really lay the floor mat to what's today, because today, don't forget, I mean, every neighborhood had their own guys had collection before the CDs came out.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like my homeboy Paya, you know what I mean, from the old site, he had a collection way before some of these CDs came out.
Yes.
So everybody had them, you know what I mean?
Right.
But these guys took that step
Yes.
and made it to be known.
Wow.
And just like Santana So Radio took that step,
Right.
didn't know what it was doing, and then look at now, it's all blown up around the whole world,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and people playing at different places,
Right.
having a good time and all that, you know what I mean? So
I'm glad. I'm
Yeah.
glad it is. Because in all actuality, music was made to be heard.
Yeah.
There
You
you go.
know, and in the fact that this music is out there, and a lot of these artists are past, and
Yeah.
they're not alive
Yeah.
anymore, and they
Yeah.
didn't make their money off of this music
No, they
because it
didn't.
was
Yeah.
buried.
Yeah.
And for someone like yourself to come out here and all these other guys that you named to actually excavate those,
Right.
to have them in their collections and put them out for public to listen to and learn. I mean, man, it's I can't express how amazing
Right.
that is. Someone like myself who loves music, I want to hear as much of it as I can. We can listen. There's so much music in the world, we can never hear it all.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh no, we'll never stop.
Scratching the surface,
Burley,
surface,
bro.
barely.
Scratch the burley of the barrel.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what I mean?
right. You're right.
Man.
So I know that you were talking about Los Angeles groups, and big shout out to East Los Manny. We got him in the house tonight.
That's right.
We're gonna
That's
get him on the show, definitely. I know he's got a great soul collection, and he
Yeah.
also dabbles in a little bit of other stuff. So
Right.
we're gonna try to get him out here soon.
Well,
but
definitely, man.
But I know you were talking about East Los, and I know you were raised not too far from there.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the soul scene at that time when it was coming up and how that influenced you.
Well, like again, let's go back. I mean, right now East LA was like the floor mat of mostly of LA, because that's where the Midnighters and a bunch of other groups, even probably even some guys from Ward. I know some of them came from Long Beach, but some of them did live in East LA and all that
Wow.
stuff. Tierra, you know what I mean? And that was like, growing up, that's what we knew and all that. And I'm really from the southeast Los Angeles, just on the other side of East LA. But my aunts and all that used to live right off of Duncan Whittier Boulevard, man.
Okay.
Where all the cruising. I remember back in the 70s,
Right. Right.
as a kid walking down the street. They had the movie theaters. I mean,
Wow.
Bruce Lee was on,
Yeah.
Into the Dragon. But
That's right.
that was a lot of influence towards me was from the East Los, growing up with my cousin and all that, and the music, and again, Tierra and all that, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, bro,
I know that I've been on your show. Thank you for that, for giving us an opportunity as South Bay Soul Collectors to be on your show. And I know that you stressed several times, man, and I'm 100% believer in this, that this music does come from the Vario.
Oh yeah.
And it goes back to when I remember my parents as a child. My parents were kids having kids. I was probably, my mom was 14 when I was born. She was 13 when she got pregnant.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're kids having kids.
That's right.
And they don't know no difference. They're both still gangbanging
Yeah.
and listening to this music. I don't
Right.
know anything about this music. I loved it until I was old enough to realize that I
Yeah.
loved something else, which
Right.
was hip hop.
Right.
But here we go, full circle.
The big circle.
40 years later,
Exactly. Happens.
40 years later, and I'm like, I gotta go back to my roots, and
There you go.
especially now that this rare stuff is out,
Right.
because I love
Right.
Brenton Wood, I love
Oh,
Al
yeah.
Green, I love Mary Wells, but
Right.
Barbara Mason, all of them.
Right.
But and there's nothing against them because that's
Yeah.
refreshing music.
Exactly.
But I do want to know more about that music, about the rare stuff, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um, so you were raised with DooWop.
Yeah.
You got into the crossover.
Right.
Then you started collecting the Sweet Soul.
Right.
Start
Right.
Santana Soul Radio.
Right.
I know that you're big on Santana Soul Radio. On your Instagram, I know you got well over 17,000 followers, and
Yes.
it's growing daily.
Yes.
You know, how does that feel, man?
Well, you know what? I didn't know that was gonna happen, really. You know, but you know, it's a blessing, and the main thing is try to stay humble. You know,
Yes.
again, we're human.
Yes.
You know, we're human, and we make 100 mistakes, and we'll never stop making mistakes. But we learn how to. Okay, wait a minute, I ain't gonna do that again, or this and that. You know what I mean? But how do I feel? I feel great because you know why I feel great about that is because I reached out. I reached out to the world, you know, about what I had a passion for. You know what I mean?
Right,
And it came from my heart. It came from what I always wanted to do. And you know, people call it a bucket list, so scratch that one off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other things, you know. But it makes me feel good too. Not only that, I mean, I know people don't know people personally, but people DM me, and you know, and I'll DM back, and people go through problems, you know, like we all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And then, you know, always trying to reach out. Well, you know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, you know, just doing the best I can to, you know, reach out. And, you know, that's the kind of person I am, with a great heart and just reaching out to people, you know?
Yeah, I've seen plenty of events that you've put on as Santana Soul Radio,
Yeah.
and even you and Manny, Islos Manny,
Right.
Harbor Soul,
Right.
where you guys give back to the community.
Yes.
So if you can offer your services for
Definitely.
a friend or a family member that needs to raise some money for a funeral or whatever it may be, I've seen you guys do those events.
Right,
So
right.
this I mean, Anthony's he's not telling a lie. I've witnessed this, and I
Right.
love that about you. I really
Thank
do.
you, bro.
You know, there needs to be, we all need to realize that we are one race, whether we're African American,
Yes.
Japanese,
Yes.
Asian, Indian, Hindu. It don't matter, bro. There's no color lines. There's,
Right.
you know, we are people.
Yeah.
And when it all boils down to it, if you sit and talk to somebody for long enough,
Yeah.
you will realize that you have a lot in common,
Definitely.
and that they're
bro.
just like you.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Exactly, bro.
But the problem with us today, including myself, is sometimes we stereotype or we shut
Yeah.
a person out because of how they look or how they act, and a lot of that is just a cover. It's just a facade.
Exactly.
They're acting a certain way, but in their heart they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
But we feel sometimes like we need to be somebody else to be accepted.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a whole nother story in itself. But the fact that you have no cover, you know, you are who you are.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything different from that. Your open
Thank you,
heart has
bro.
always been open.
Thank you.
You know, I thank you, man, for what you do.
Definitely.
I see you have something here. We were just talking about these guys
Right,
right now.
right,
What you got
yeah.
on the
Well,
on the wheel?
I got the Midnighters right here, and looking for my cheaters right here. And yeah, no, I have this right here by the Midnighters off of Whittier record label.
Yes.
You know, it means a lot to me as we're thinking back. You know, I was like my dad's best friend. You know what I mean? You know, or my dad was my best friend.
Yeah.
And he played a lot of Midnighters. He played a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, he just showed me so much stuff. Matter of fact, he showed me how to build a bomb, you know, a ride,
Wow.
Wow.
put a car together, all these things. And but this song right here kind of reminds me of him, where, you know, they go through trials. Everybody goes through trials, tribulations, you know, in life, in a relationship, and all that. And this is the time where maybe I seen a tear come down my dad's eye watching him as a little boy, confused, you know, of marriage and all that, or
Yeah.
or losing his mom when he was about 5 years old,
Wow.
living on the streets of LA
Wow.
and all that. So, you know, he had a rough lifetime and all that, but he was a well-known guy too in LA, you know. And so I wanted to play this song for him, and it kind of reminds me of him when he used to play this a lot. So, and this is dedicated to my pops and all that, you know what I
What
mean?
was your dad's name, Anthony?
Ernest Santana, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Yeah, so I guess we'll jump to that song.
Awesome.
This is not the first time
absolutely love the Midnighters, man. Big shout out to the Midnighters, Willie G,
Definitely.
man.
Definitely.
You know, Anthony, I wanted to ask you. I know that you've interviewed a lot of DJs and artists on your
Right.
show. I know there's probably several of them, but who would be one of your most memorable DJs or artists that you interviewed?
Wow, man. Shoot, man. You know what? It's like so many came by. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And all that. I mean, so many came by. One would be I gotta admit, it'd be Gardena Soul, bro.
Wow, love Gardena Soul.
Yeah, he plays a different style of music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all that. And one, because I mean, we really chopped it up. He's the one who really stretched his hands out to me when things didn't seem right in life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I never really met really knew the guy, but out of nowhere, he just came out, shook my hand, and we been pretty close, and he, I had him on the show, and he really he rocked the show, you know what I mean, and he took it a different level, different level, man.
Yeah, big shout out to Richie. For those of you who don't know, follow Gardena Soul on Instagram.
Definitely.
And follow his 45s and LPs, man. This guy has eclectic music.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Anthony. He plays some stuff that I've even witnessed larger collectors, the guys that I look up to, go up to him and say, "Wow, what was that? Did you just played?"
Yeah, exactly.
He's a quiet guy too, man.
He's
a quiet
yeah.
guy. So
Exactly.
I love that guy.
Yeah, man.
That's a great thing about the information and technology, having the ability to reach out to people and bridge the gap and bringing them in and sharing and growing together. So thinking about that, if I was to ask you for your radio show, for your show on Instagram, if there was any artist or DJ you could have come out that you haven't had out yet, but you will, hopefully, yeah. Who would that DJ or that artist be?
Wow, man! Like you said, one would be Greg Belson, bro.
Man,
play a gospel soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Greg Belson is another guy to look out for.
So let him know so you can invite him right now.
Yeah, man. Hey, Greg, man, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to come on out, man. I'd like to get you on the show, bro.
We'll definitely have to make that happen, man. Yeah, he for another guy to follow. If you guys don't know who Greg Belson is, you should take a look at his Instagram. I think he's also on Dub Lab.
Yeah,
man, he's amazing when it comes to gospel music. His collection is bar none, that's for sure.
Well, it's crazy because not just him, but I mean, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of people out there. Just a quick review. You know what I mean? Big shout out to Linwood Soul. He was out. He came out to the show. Beto. Came out to the show. Not only that, San Fernando Soul. That's Jason, man. Him too, you know what I mean, and the 626 family, and a bunch of. We can go on. Not only them, and even the guys that Burley came in, and Burley started. They only had like few records, and then they came back and they grew. They have more. Big shout out to Chris out there from Piru City, homeboy Lucas. Just all the other people out there, man. Big shout out to the right here, the Tim, man, right here behind me, man. That's another story right there too.
Definitely East LA Soul, East LA Manny, man. He's
man.
So I'm glad you brought that up because you guys actually are working on something together at the moment, right?
Yes, we are, man.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, let's back that up real quick. I mean, I met Manny out there in they went with Hey Love or something like that, or Love Bar, somewhere out there, and we just kind of
hate bar,
love and hate bar, and kind of talked a little bit. And that was it, and I had him on my mind, and so one day I called him over and dropped a nice set, and then we just started talking, chopping it up, and before you know it, I found a partner that thinks like me. We're headed the same direction, and had a lot of comment, like you say, you know what I mean, a lot of comment, and so we kind of got together and say, you know what, let's do something. He came out and talked about the McGay Bar and Grill.
Yes.
We started that Soul Sundays, and that thing just started popping. And then you've been there too, so
yes.
And so that started popping, and we kind of looked at it. It's not just playing the records, but can somebody perform this live, this kind of music live? There's never a band out there ever done it because I haven't seen nobody done it. Okay, so So we had our first gig at McGay's. You were there. So they formed up the band called the Illusions with Tony.
Yes.
Tony and Nira and all the other cats and all that gone to the studio. Manuel sends them a list. Hey, can you do this or not? Boom. So they put it together. You know, short story short. Did at McGay's. It was a hit. And then we end up doing it in La Mirada, a big hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that is that now where we're at today is that the Illusions are really gravitating. We just don't want them to be like everybody else, which they're not, because they're playing rare soul.
Yes.
Deep rare soul.
Yes, yes.
Not just rare soul.
So this is a band.
This is a band now.
Okay.
Yes, this is a band. So we kind of say Manny, us, and then Tony. We created this band. You know what I mean? So we work together, and so we give them a list of songs that we want them to play. They do it. They work hard at it, and they're successful about it.
They sound great. They really do. For those of you guys who don't know who the Illusions are, you got to follow them on Instagram as well.
Yes.
The THEE
Yes.
Illusions.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Good name
And,
too.
and they're young. They're out of Islos, right?
That's right.
They're all out of Islos. They're young artists.
Yes, they are.
They play wonderfully. They form wonderfully together, and I really do see them going somewhere. Now, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but Anthony just showed me a little something here that it looked to be a record label design. I don't want to say too much, but man, be on the lookout for the Illusions for sure, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely, man. You know, because that's our goal, man.
Awesome.
You know, that's our goal. We're here. Sounds of Los Angeles is going to represent Los Angeles and all the artists here in Los Angeles. So
Now, who is Sounds of Los Angeles?
well, Sounds of Los Angeles has been put together of record collectors
Okay, good.
that they, you know, that bought these records, put the band together to sing these music.
Oh.
And so it's not by an entertainer, it's not by a producer, it's not by somebody else, it's by real collectors, you know? So we formed this up. It's a Harbor Soul, Ray from Harbor Soul.
Okay.
Manuel from East LA, you know, East LA Soul, the Tin Man. That's right. And then it's Goober from Artesia.
Love Goober.
You know what I mean? And then we got JD, you know, John Dillinger was one of the creators of Tokers Only.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. So,
Wow.
and then as me, Santana Soul Radio, we're combined together, and now we're under one banner.
Good.
Sounds of Los Angeles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Oh man, absolutely love each one of those guys that you named off.
Yes.
That's a strong team right there.
Yes.
Love the Illusions.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
they are
man.
gonna do something, man. So, man, Anthony, it's been a blessing, bro, having you
Yes.
here and just listening to all of
Yes.
this. I'm very honored that you gave us some time and
Definitely.
came back to the studio. I mean, when you first came and you blessed us with that soul music, that was a nice treat, and
Right.
that to have the opportunity to bring you back. You know, I'm grateful. I feel blessed, man.
Yeah. And, you know, thank you. Thank you guys both much.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys being here. Looking forward to having your partner on the show.
Definitely.
Yeah, we got to get the Tin Man out here next, man. I'm gonna set up a
Yeah.
date so you guys will be listening and knowing and finding out who East LA Soul is.
That's right.
So we'll go ahead and get that scheduled. Manny, or sorry, look at I'm already got Manny on my mind.
Got
Look at
ready.
that.
Yeah.
Anthony, is there anything you want to say? We got a few minutes left of the show. If you anyone you want to shout out to? I know you gave a few shout outs, but
Yeah.
anything you want to say?
Yeah, you know, I just want to shout out to the storyteller. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Got you.
Storyteller, and not only that, man, all those people out there, you know, like I say, lay the floor mat. You know, and shout out to Ruben Molina too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And 5150 Solera, shout out to her too. You know, I mean, you know, you give credit where credit's due.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? And not only that, to Renee, you know,
Oh man,
all them, you know, 'cause,
love Renee.
and Mike Noriega, you know,
Oh, big
yeah,
love.
big time Mike right there, you know, and big shout out to those guys, you know, and you know, a lot of those guys, all those people came through the pad, you know, and had a great time.
Wow.
Had a great time, you know. It's
Wow.
exciting, and you know, like I said, we're in a transition, building the studio bigger right now,
Good.
and we're transitioning. So
Good,
we'll be
man.
doing some crazy stuff.
Well, I definitely look forward to seeing the new Santana Soul renovation,
Nice,
man. I know that
nice.
you're a good handyman. I've seen.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, if you've ever seen Santana Soul Radio live on Instagram, Anthony actually built all that stuff with his bare hands. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's cut the wood. He's put the glue in the nails,
There
and
you go.
you know, tooth
Yeah.
and nail, man. And
Yeah.
he does a good job at it. So I'm excited to see the new works. And man, I know you
Yeah.
got a lot of artists under your sleeve, so it'd be great. You know, thank you for everything you do for the community, Anthony.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you. Thanks,
Awesome.
Frank, man. Thank you for letting us come into your studio and, just pouring the heart out, playing the music. And thank Bridge City, man. Radio, man.
We're grateful. We're
Yeah.
very grateful. Now we get to go back and check out your prior show and
Yeah.
and listen to those songs and know where we got to be, what we got to be listening to.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
got to get up to par where you guys are at
Exactly.
Santana Radio. We appreciate you guys.
That's right, man.
Thank
Stepping
you, man.
stones, man. So
Same here, man.
anyways, well, you're listening to Bridge City Radio, and we want to thank everybody that tunes in. You can follow us on Instagram at Bridge City Radio. You can also follow us on Facebook, and we also have a YouTube page. Check it out.
Nice.
Bridge City Radio, 100.7 FM, KCLA, out of South Bay Harbor area. We had Anthony Santana in the studio tonight
Thank
with
you.
Santana Soul Radio. And hope you guys have a wonderful week and a blessed evening.
Thank you.